Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. We have new news with regard to Tino Livramento, the player that Newcastle have been linked with for quite some time now. It was reported that Southampton declined a £30 million bid, but as of last night and this morning, it looks like we could have some light at the end of this tunnel, and he could well be signing for Newcastle sooner than we thought. So we want to get into all of that in this video. I also want to talk about the fact that Newcastle have announced a new strategic relationship with another football club. That's right, Newcastle will now be working with another football club to try and help develop their players, develop our players, and if I'm honest, I think it's the first of a few. I think it's the first of a few. Dan Ashworth is a man on the warpath to really try and help develop our young talent. I think it's a good way to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and before we get into this video, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't yet checked it out, be sure to go and take a look at my Patreon as well. Set that up a couple of weeks ago. In the past I've had you guys ask, how can you help support the channel, help support the daily videos that I do here on YouTube, and Patreon is a great way to do that. Don't worry, all the YouTube content will stay exactly the same, but if you'd like an extra fix of Newcastle or Rubenstein content, be sure to go and check out Patreon. There's some free stuff on there as well, and it is a monthly membership. It's £5 a month, so go and check it out if you're interested. But we'll start off with Newcastle's new relationship. That's right, Newcastle actually announced this around a week or so ago, and I felt like it flew under the radar a little bit. It was around the time where all of the St. Maximin chat was coming out about him leaving or going, and I thought it was an interesting one, to be honest, because Dan Ashworth, as we know, has been going out and selecting players from other clubs to bring in. We saw, obviously, Garan Kowal. We saw Yakuba Minta. In fairness, he cost us £7 million. So it wasn't really a way of bringing in youth talent that we trained up. It was someone we bought. But still, the young player that we loaned out to Feyenoord. We talk about, obviously, players that were linked with this window, players that were linked with next window, and we'll get into that Livramento stuff later on. But to go out and try and bring youth talent in, or even grow the current Newcastle Academy, so that in 2 or 3 years' time, 4 years' time, look at Elliot Anderson, look at Lewis Miley, they cost us nothing, and in 2 or 3 years' time, we could have 2 real players on our hands. So to work with other teams, and a team based over in Ireland plays in the Northern Irish League, is a great chance for them to us maybe pick up some of their young talent to bring over here, or even the other way. If we've got some, under 15s, under 16s, under 17s, a chance to get them over in a league that, because really at that age you will struggle to get game time in the Premier League. Lewis Miley's doing a great job coming through, but generally speaking, send them over there for a season, help develop them, help develop both clubs. So it's a great way to do it. Dan Ashworth actually said that it's a great way to discover the best practice to develop our respective player talents, moving between clubs in either direction. And I actually thought, that when we sent Yakuba Minta over to Feyenoord, there might have been a chance that maybe that could be a club that we deal with. And I would say it doesn't necessarily have to be announced in the way that it has with Lawn FC. It could just be a mutual agreement. It would not surprise me to see us maybe send a few players to Gateshead as well. We've seen players who've left the club go to Gateshead. Maybe really try and strike that relationship a little bit further, and then to do it with teams abroad. It is going in the direction of that multi-club talk that we've had before. Obviously, Man City have got links with a club in every different country. Maybe we're not quite getting there yet, but to have those links, Shola Ramiobi working on the loan deals and stuff, I think it's a good one to see happen. And on the talk of being linked with young players, there is actually a couple of young Irish lads that we are linked with right now. The pair of them are 18 years old. They actually play, one plays for AC Milan, one plays for Inter Milan. We've actually seen Dan Ashworth off at AC Milan recently, so is that partly to do with that? Is it partly to do with the rumours that he's actually talking to a few coaching staff over at AC Milan about a job at Newcastle as well? So we'll wait and hear on that one. But yeah, Heffernan, the 18-year-old currently at AC Milan, actually played at Cork before having trials at Juve, Roma, ended up in AC Milan. It's thought that after further trials he could well be joining Newcastle. And then there's also Zefi, Z-E-F-I, another 18-year-old who was at Shamrock and then made his way over to Inter Milan, who's done great things in the youth squads over there. So 2 Irish lads, both now over in Milan. Looks like the pair could be joining Newcastle, and that's still all part of the plan with Dan Ashworth to try and bring in young talent at the club. So let me know your thoughts on all of that down below. Obviously, these are things that we're setting up now that will hopefully benefit the club in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. 2 18-year-olds, 3-4 years time, 21, 22 we've brought in for, next to nothing, could be the next world beaters, And that's the thing. Look at Man City selling the likes of Lavia to Southampton, and now they're looking to sell him for 50 million. So it's not even just, letting players go, but it's to use the talent, bring them in, and if it doesn't work out, it's like a constant chain of players that we're selling on as well. So yeah, it's good work, and we'll see what happens. But in terms of this window right now, Livramento, a player who has been heavily linked with the club over the last few weeks. I remember I was actually down at St James's Park doing a separate video when it was announced that Newcastle had a £30 million bid rejected for the player. And ever since then, the conversation has been around Southampton either wanted more money. Did they want more money than 30 million? Did it have to be 35? Did it have to be 40 million? There's been talks around how the payment was made. Southampton wanting a larger part of that payment made up front rather than installments. The fact that Chelsea are involved as well because they've got a sell-on fee there due to get, I think it's a 20-25% of the fee. So even if they sold them for 30, they're sending them 8-ish million over to Chelsea. So it's been a lot. But as of last night and this morning, reports coming out that talks have advanced with Newcastle. The thought is Newcastle could well be going in with a higher bid of closer to 35 to 40 million. So you let me know your thoughts on that one down below. Is Livramento a player that you're interested in? Is it a position you're interested in? Right back / left back? Is he with 30 to 40 million? You can let me know your thoughts on that one down below. And it's been said as well that if we were to bring Livramento in, we'd probably have to let go of one of our other fullbacks. Well, it just so happens that I did mention in yesterday's video that Harris Nashby has been heavily linked to a loan move to Swansea, and thanks to some detective work of some of their fans down there, it appears in one of the club training photos that was posted, there happens to be a lad who either has the exact same tattoo as Harris Nashby, or is him. I don't want to go into that too much because it could just well be someone who has the same tattoo artist and likes arm sleeves. So I'm not going to jump all over that one, but it's thought that if that is him, if he has gone, I think that is also boosting the fact that maybe that Livramento deal is coming in a little bit quicker, that we were happy to let someone go because we know that the deal is quite close for Livramento to join the club. And what's also kind of really pushed this one over the edge as of this morning is that Southampton have their first game of the season tomorrow. Obviously, relegated side championship weekend starts this weekend, and they take on Sheffield Wednesday, Friday night. The manager was in his press conference this morning where he said that Lavia would be present, would be at the game. Said that James Ward-Prowse would be present, would be at the game. But no Livramento was discussed in that interview. Have they tactically said, please do not mention him, we don't want to comment on that one. Added to that, reports coming out that he has in fact been left at home, or that is what the reports are saying, that he will not be with the squad for their championship opener. Now that's what the reports are. For all we know, he could be in the starting 11 as of tomorrow night. But taking it with a little bit of pinch of salt, the manager didn't want to talk about it. It looks like Ashby on our side is on his way. It's said that talks are ever further progressed. And if Livramento has indeed not travelled with the team for their first championship game of the season, bearing in mind that Lavia's linked to 50, 60 million pound bids, if anyone wasn't going to play, you'd think it would be him. The fact that Livramento is also linked away but hasn't gone, I think possibly says quite a lot about where this deal currently stands. So you can let me know your thoughts on Livramento down below. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. I've had a few comments that have said, look, Rob, we've got Ashby, do we need Livramento? I haven't seen enough of Ashby. I don't know. When we brought him in, that was the hope, that Ashby would be the guy who really crafty, Manquillo, they're both still there, but as great workers as they are and have been over the last few years, Trippier is the top dog right now, and you're not looking for, can Crafty play there every now and then? Can Manquillo cover left back and right back? I'm looking at who's the next Trippier, who in the next 2 or 3 years, and I thought Ashby was that exact reason we brought him in, but he hasn't really seen any game time, and if the links are true that he is being loaned out, you think that Eddie Howe maybe doesn't think he's there yet, or maybe can't be, and that's why we're looking down the route of a quite expensive number 2 right back. So you let me know your thoughts on Livramento down below. Let me know your thoughts on the earlier talk on the development squad side of things as well. And we're waiting here on what happens next. Alright guys, thanks for watching, enjoy your evening, and I'll catch you later.